guys, it's Shadowarty here, and I'm back with another 6th Gen Wi-Fi battle. Today we got a match against Julia. This match is actually from Twitter. She wanted an RU match. I was like, let's do it. So I threw a bunch of random Pokemon together from my team, and this is going to be a really interesting match. So on her team, I'm definitely afraid of that Fletchinder because Gale Wing's priority is very scary. My Gastrodon should wall it pretty well, but if my Gastrodon is brought to a low amount of HP, I definitely will be in trouble because this thing will be a huge threat. I do have rocks on this team with my Mesprit, so I definitely have to put that up. I'm also scared of that Verizone because if it sets up a few Swords Dances, if it's a physical attacker, or Calm Minds, if it's a special attacker, then I definitely can be in trouble. I'm also afraid of that Flygon. It could be choiced in some way, but I'm thinking that this Flygon is actually her defogger only because she has the Fletchinder and it doesn't want to take rock damage every time it wants to come in. So that will be something interesting to note. So why don't we get started with this match? I'm actually going to lead off my specially defensive Rotom because I can Volt Switch out if the situation is bad, as she's going to lead off with the Excavalier. Unfortunately, this of course is a very bad situation for me. I do not want to take a potential Mega Horn, so I'm going to decide to just go for the Will-O-Wisp, knowing that she's probably going to end up doing something scary. She actually shows me the knockoff, so I'm going to lose my leftovers. That's going to suck, but I do burn this Excavalier, which is huge. Then again, she still might have the Diancie with the Heal Bell, so I'm not safe out of the woods yet. I decided to just Volt Switch because I obviously do not want to take a Mega Horn, but burning this Excavalier was definitely worth it. I decided to just bring in my Alamamala because I know I can take any hit from him, even if he powers up with the Swords Dance. Since he's burned, I'm in a huge advantage here. As you can see, that Mega Horn does no damage whatsoever. And I'm looking really good here because this thing is burned, it's taking damage, and that's going to benefit me greatly. So he's going to decide to switch now because he knows he doesn't want to take a Scald. It's not going to really do anything anyway, but still. She decides to bring in the Verizone, unfortunately. I just decided to go for the Scald, maybe hoping for the burn. If I get a burn, I would be happy if this is a physical Meloetta. Most of them are physical. I do see some special ones, though, so I'm not really sure what to expect from this Verizone, so I'm going to have to stall him out. I decided to just switch out this turn. I could have went for the Protect, but I wasn't sure if that was worth it. I just decided to go into my Meloetta just to set up Stealth Rocks because I wasn't sure what he wanted to go for. He then shows me the Calm Mind, so that is actually really scary because with the Calm Mind up, I'm in a very bad spot because this Meloetta, I do carry the Psychic, but I don't think it's going to kill. He goes to the Giga Drain, and that is easily a 2-hit KO. Very unfortunate for me because that Giga Drain does a lot of damage. Turns out that he's Life Orb, which, you know, is good information to know. I figured I'd just go for my Stealth Rocks. He has the Fletchinder on his side of the field. And yeah, at this point, I figured I should either let my Meloetta die or I could potentially switch out. He actually decides to predict the switch and just go for the Focus Blast. I'm guessing maybe she was predicting my Magmortar to come in, but the Focus Blast is not going to be enough to take me down. And I just go for the U-turn. I know it's not going to really do anything, but any damage is better than no damage, right? So I decided to just switch out, and I decided to just go into my Magmortar now, knowing that I'm Assault Vested and I can live any hit from this Verizone. I can scare him out with the potential Fire Blast. Unfortunately, he brings in the Diancie, which tells me that this Diancie is probably specially defensive. And you're going to see how well this thing is able to take a Fire Blast. You're going to see, look at this damage. So I go for the Fire Blast, and you can see that does, like, no damage. That was, like, a good solid 10%. So I'm not really looking good here at all, because with leftovers, he's going to recover HP every turn, and it's not really worth for me to stay in. I decided to just switch out, knowing that he's probably just going to go for the Stealth Rocks or something along those lines. I figured I would go into my Gastrodon here. I am actually a Choice Specs Gastrodon, so I know I can deal a ton of damage to my opponent's team. He actually shows me the Heal Bell, so that's going to be a bit unfortunate because this Excavalier is still a threat. I'm just going to decide to go for the Surf. Unfortunately, Gastrodon does not get Scald, so you know what are you going to do there? She goes into the Alamamala now, and you're going to see the Surf isn't really going to do much at all, even though I am Choice Specs. This Alamamala does resist the hit, and, you know, it's actually a fair amount of damage. I am Choice Specs, and Alamamala doesn't have the best special defense in the world. So, you know, I'm actually kind of fine with that damage. She actually goes for the Toxic, you know, it's a bit unfortunate. I just decided to stay in and go for the Scald just in case she wanted to predict the switch and switch out. Unfortunately, she just stays in and goes for a Toxic. You know what are you going to do there? I do go for the Surf, and this Alamamala is almost dead, which is, you know, really awesome. At this point, if he switches out, I get to hit something with the Surf, and if he goes for the Wish, then it's a dead Alamamala. So either way, a Surf is going to do a lot of damage to whatever he wants to go for. He decides to switch out, go into the Verizone. Unfortunately, it's the Verizone, the really annoying Verizone. It does take Stealth Rock damage, which is nice. And I just decided to go for the Surf. I was kind of hoping that it would kill this thing. You know, Verizone doesn't have the best defense in the world. It does a fair amount of damage. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to kill. And at this point, I figured I would switch out now. I don't want to take a potential Giga Drain. It's 4 times. I'm 4 times weak to it. I figured I would just let my Meloetta be Death Fodder. Not Meloetta, I'm sorry. My Mesprit be Death Fodder. I keep calling this thing Meloetta. I'm sorry. Yeah, so my Mesprit is going to go down. The rocks are up still. He hasn't brought in the Flygon yet, so I don't know if the Flygon has the Defog just yet. But I'm in a good point. I'm in a good situation here because I can bring in my Magmortar now, and I can potentially scare out this Verizone. This Verizone is really wear down to a point where I can do a ton of damage. I actually decided to go for the Psychic, knowing that he's probably gonna go into not the Meloetta. What am I talking about? That he would go into the Diancie once again. So I go for the Psychic, and he brings in the Flygon. So that's really nice for me. Unfortunately, it is a 2-hit KO, which is nice. But unfortunately, he shows me the leftovers. And I am going to be scared out with an Earthquake. So I decided to just go into my Rotom, as he shows me the Defog. You know, that's really unfortunate on my part because I cannot do anything to this Flygon. Other than burn this Flygon, I cannot do anything to him at all. I'm actually going to decide, he's actually going to decide to switch. You know, he does not want to get burnt. He's going to decide to go into the Fletchinder, and I go for the Will-O-Wisp. Kind of a bad play on my part. I probably should have just Volt Switched. He's actually going to pull a double switch now, as she's going to go into the Diancie once again. I figured I would just go for the Volt Switch. At this point, I should just get Switch Initiative against this Diancie. So I'm going to switch out now. I'm going to get Switch Initiative, bring in whoever I want. I decided to bring in my Slugger, my Gastrodon. I am Choice Specs, so I can potentially scare this thing out with the Surf. And I am Choice Specs, so you know what are you gonna do there? I am poisoned. That's gonna suck, but I have to hit something with a Surf. Something is gonna get hit with the Surf, and it's probably gonna end up being the Alomamala, which is fine because if the Alomamala dies, then he can't pass any more wishes. You know, it's gonna benefit me greatly. So at this point, I figured I'd just go for another Surf. It's gonna do a lot of damage, and you're gonna see after this turn, this Alomamala has 2 chances. He's gonna have to either switch out, which means if he switches out, then something on his team is going to have to take a Surf, which is going to do a lot of damage, or he can just let his Alomamala die. He decides to just go for the Protect. Nice play on his part. Toxic Stall me a little bit, but really I'm at a point where I can just go for a Surf and this Alomamala is going to die. So I really have no reason to switch out now, because if I switch out, then he gets up a free Wish, and this Alomamala is going to be a huge thorn on my side. So he goes for a Wish. You know that's going to suck, because now I can just go for the Surf, take out this Alomamala, but what he can do next turn is just bring in his Verizone and pretty much get all of his HP back with the Wish. So that is really unfortunate. Not the best play on my part, and my Gastrodon is looking really bad here because it has barely any HP left, and he still has the Fletchinder left. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to outspeed this Verizone. I'm just going to let my Gastrodon be a Death Fodder at this point, because at this point, even if I switch out, I'm still going to take a Giga Drain. I really have nothing on my team that wants to take a Giga Drain. I want to keep my Magmortar at as high HP as possible, so I can bring in my Magmortar once again, and I can just potentially go for a Fire Blast, scare him out. He's probably going to bring in the Diancie anyway. I figured I would just go for the Psychic. You know, it's my best play, even if he switches out and the Flygon wants to come in. Actually, no, I don't go for Psychic. I go for the Fire Blast. So, yeah, this Diancie is like a huge threat to my team because I cannot do anything to this Diancie now that my Gastrodon is dead. And yeah, my Magmortar is walled really bad with this Diancie, and that's going to be really unfortunate because that's going to force me to switch. I decided to bring in my Mismagius, and honestly, a pretty bad play on my part, as he's going to be able to put up his rocks. I am a Choice Scarf Mismagius, so I really cannot do much to him. I figured I would just let him kill me so I can get off a Destiny Bond to this thing or something, but I figured I'd just go for the Shadow Ball. And that's not going to do any damage whatsoever, and he's going to be able to kill me with a Diamond Storm. Actually, I'm not sure if this will kill. I think I might live with like barely any HP. Actually, no, I don't. He gets a crit anyway. and he gets a special defense, and he gets a defense increase, and that's gonna suck. So I lose my Mismagius. Mismagius doesn't do anything in this match. Really, really unfortunate because I lose another Mon. And Switch Initiative really isn't on my side. I figured I'd just bring in my Alamamala now. At this point, I can potentially just go for a Scald or a Toxic to something. Because if I can poison something at least, that would put me in a really good spot. I think I actually decided to go for the Toxic as he brings in the Verizon. So as long as this Verizon is poisoned, he either has two chances. He could either switch out and go into his Diancie and go for the Heal Belt. But then again, that gives me the advantage because he's going to have to waste two turns doing that. So I know he has Heal Bell, but it's definitely worth to make him do that. So he's going to decide to go for the Calm Mind. I am not looking good here at all because obviously I don't want to I don't want to die to this thing. So I decided to just go for the Wish. You know, even if he attacks me, I can heal almost all that HP back, and I do have Protect, so I can potentially just keep stalling out this Verizon a little bit. As long as toxic damage wraps off onto this Verizon, that's going to put me in a great spot. Unfortunately, I do have to be careful, though, because he does still have the Giga Drain. He goes to the Focus Blast, and I live with like 38-2 HP. He was predicting the switch into the Magmortar, as I'm going to be able to get off a Wish, heal almost all my HP back, and yeah, we're looking really good here because toxic damage is going to rack off, you know, which is always nice, so I'm not really going to complain there. I still don't want to take a Giga Drain, though, so I'm just going to decide to go for the Protect. It's my best play. Toxic stall him a little bit, force him to take toxic damage with his Alamamala gone now. That's going to put me in a great spot because with the Toxic racking off damage each turn, I figured that he would decide to go for another Giga Drain. So I figured I should switch now, go into my Rotom Electric here. I'm not Rotom Electric, I'm sorry. Rotom Cut. As he goes for the Giga Drain, you know, it's fine by me. He does heal a little bit of HP back, but then again, poison damage still racks off. So that's still a huge plus to me. Unfortunately, Verizon is still faster because I'm not invested in any defense. Actually, no, he just dies to poison. So the Verizon is dead. I'm looking really good here. Finally, that thing's out of the way. He decides to bring in the Flygon now. Of course, I'm gonna be scared out. I don't want to take a potential dragon type move. So I'm gonna bring in my Alamomala now because at this point, if I can hit this thing with a Scald and burn it, that is gonna put me in a great spot because this Flygon isn't gonna be a threat. So he decides to go for the Dragon Claw. It does a respectable amount of damage, not too much to worry me though. So I figured I could go for the Scald now, and it's going to put me in a great spot. So if I burn this thing, I'm going to be looking really good. As he's actually going to withdraw now because he knows he does not want to get burnt. As he's going to go into the Excavalier. And you know, if I hit this thing with a Scald and get another burn, I would be really happy. Turns out that Scald was actually a crit, and I don't get the burn. I honestly definitely would have preferred the burn there over the crit, because as you guys saw, that crit did like no damage. So that's really unfortunate, and I can't poison this Excavalier, so I'm going to be forced to switch. I figured I would just go into my Rotom Cut, because I need a free switch into something. Unfortunately, he goes to the knockoff. It is not enough to kill. I just go for the Will-O-Wisp, as he brings in the Fletchender. Actually, no, I don't go bring it over the Will-O-Wisp. I actually carry the Pain Split, so that actually puts me in a great spot, because with this Fletchender, I know he's probably going to end up going for the Roost, because he's going to get a bit greedy. He wants to sweep, as I'm going to decide to just Volt Switch, because really, it's going to do a lot of damage. I know it's probably not going to kill. I don't have max special attack investment. That's a bit unfortunate, but I can bring in a counter and deal damage to this Fletchender. So I bring in my Alomomola now. It's my best play because I can just potentially go with a Scald. I know I can take any hit he wants to go for. If he wants to set up a Swords Dance, he's going to have to take at least one Scald, so that's going to be really awesome for me. Even if he sets up a Swords Dance and I hit him with a Scald and this doesn't kill, I still can potentially poison him. So the Scald, unfortunately, is not enough to take him down. Really unfortunate there. He's probably going to end up roosting again this turn, but Scald, I think, does a little bit more damage than the Roots. So I figured I would just go for the Scald again, try to take him out, maybe hoping that I would get max damage. Unfortunately, though, I don't think the Scald is going to be enough to take him down. Actually, is it? Oh, no, it isn't. So He lives with like barely any HP again, and yeah, I'm not really looking too good because if he attacks me, I know I can live at least one hit, so it's not the worst situation in the world. He goes for the acrobatics. It does a lot of damage. I'd actually try to go for the toxic, thinking that he would roost again. You know, it doesn't work out there, but luckily I don't miss the toxic, so you know, that's a huge benefit for me, as this thing is going to die to poison. So the Fletchender's gone. That is a huge threat out of the way, guys. Let me tell you guys, that is a huge threat out of the way because I'm looking really good here. He decides to bring in the Excavalier now. You know, I really can't do anything to this thing. All I want to do is burn this thing, unfortunately. He doesn't have any means of recovery, so I figured I would just let my Rotom bite the dust here, because at this point, he's going to go for the Mega Horn. I already switched into Rotom Cut so many times. Unfortunately, though, he does predict it this time, and I'm going to lose my Rotom. So, you know, what are you going to do there? It was worth it to bring him in, because now I have a free switch into my Magmortar. And at this point, I can potentially scare him out with the Fire Blast. So he's going to bring in the Diancie now. He really has no reason not to. This Diancie is getting crippled, though, let me tell you guys. It has barely any HP left. I figured I'd just go for the Fire Blast. I mean, I knew he was probably gonna switch out anyway, but at this point, I just want to kill this Diancie. He does have leftovers, you know, that's a problem, because it's going to deal damage. It's going to let him heal back some HP, and that's not going to put me in a great spot. But I can bring in Alomamala now, hit this thing maybe with the Scald, and maybe it'll kill. So I know this Diancie can't do anything to my Alomamala. Alomamala is like the MVP of this team right now, guys. He decides to go for the Moonblast. It doesn't really do anything. And at this point, I can potentially just go for the Scald, or I can go for the Wish. Either way, either play is my best play, or I can even poison him. That would put me in a great spot. I figured I'd just go for the Scald, though, just to see how much damage it does. Maybe hope for a burn. I figured Toxic isn't the best play only because he does have the Heal Bell. So I figured Scald was a better play there. Unfortunately, I am gonna be able to live another hit. So I decided to go for the Wish now, only because I figured he might Heal Bell and try to stall me out a little bit. But he's actually gonna end up going for the Moonblast. You know, that's gonna be really unfortunate, as I do go for the Wish. Had he went for the Heal Bell this turn, I could have protected next turn, and I could have gotten almost all my HP back. But he's going to decide to go for the Moonblast, and that's going to take me out. So my last Pokemon is the Magmortar, and after Stealth Rock damage, I can heal almost all that HP back. This Diancie is burnt, so I can bring in my Magmortar now, kill him with a Psychic, and that he'll have 2 more Pokemon left. So I do take Stealth Rock damage, but I am going to heal all that back after this turn. I figured I would just go for the Psychic, take out this Diancie, and that's a dead Diancie. So at this point, I'm going to get all my HP back. He's going to bring in the Excavalier now. Now, if you guys notice, throughout this whole match, I've been playing like my Magmortar is choice, and that was a reason, because he brings in the Excavalier thinking that I'm choiced. I go for the Fire Blast, and that's a dead Excavalier. So, unfortunately, his last mon is the Flygon, and unfortunately, I did not realize this at the time, because I didn't take a picture of the team preview, so I didn't know what his last mon was. So a really stupid play on my part, because now my Magmortar is going to die to the Earthquake, and that is going to be the game. Had I just switched out with my Alomamala, that honestly would have been the better play, and let my Magmortar take that Moonblast. That definitely would have been the better play, because I still would have had my Alomamala. I did have the Regenerator ability. I could have healed a lot of that HP back, and that Flygon really couldn't do anything to my Alomamala. So that is what I should have done, and I would have won this match. But unfortunately, I made a stupid play. I didn't take a picture of the team preview. I didn't know that he still had the Flygon left, so stupid memory cost me there. But that was still a good match regardless. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. That was a 1-0 victory in my opponent's favor. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this match, leave me a like, a favorite, and a subscription, and I will catch you guys in the next one. This is Shadowarty signing out. Peace, guys.